So I haven't heard it fall, so I'm assuming it's still in place. So this is the naughty bolt. If I put that on gently and sneak up on it by surprise, and it's out. Would you believe it? It worked. See, duct tape is the dog's bollocks. That's worked straight away. That is the way forward. I'm a happy man. So today I had two jobs that I wanted to complete. One of them was taking off the davits on the back of the boat because they're utterly useless, and the other one was finding where the leak is that's causing the rot in the aft cabin. Well, two birds with one stone, as they say. So these bolts were an absolute nightmare to get out. I didn't realise. Usually what they do is the glass in the nuts underneath, and so they're held steady and you can just pull the bolts out. But unfortunately on this one that wasn't the case. So anyway, this block goes on top of there, that went on top of there, and the bolts went through there. But on the underside they're held in place with washers and nuts and what have you, and they're not glassed in. So all the effort to get them out was because the nuts were just spinning below. Anyway, when I finally raised this, they have tried to seal it at some point, probably when it was first installed, but if they have, they've used sealant certainly where the bolts were, you can see that, but there's no real evidence of very much sealant here. And if you look here, I don't know if you can tell, let me turn this sideways and you might be able to see better. You see the depth of the dint in that wood. See? It's so rotten. And so I think immediately, you get your finger right through there, look at that. Right past the first joint. Ah! A shark got me! So yeah, I think I found my leak. I did think, you see, it was there, where there's a screw missing out of that cable gland. But no, it's definitely this. So I came to that side to start on that one, and the impact driver is having no impact. It's just being a driver, but it's not even driving very well. So let's go into the aft cabin and see just what is going on here. Yeah, ow, back of my head. Yeah, I know what's dark in here. But my brilliant £16 torch, which is the brightest thing I've ever known in my entire life, but which also has a work light on it, from, I don't know, B&Q or Home Base or something, I can't remember now. Absolutely worth every single salty penny. So if I put that in there, you can see clearly the problem I was dealing with before is those 2, 4, 6. Now why they've got a little block of wood on that one, I don't know. They should have on that one, because that's a stay. But these 6, these are all the ones belonging to the davits, and yet they put a block of wood which actually matches that one. That's very unusual, very weird. But I don't care. Now all I need to do is recruit somebody to come and hold a spanner on these while I take the impact driver to them and get them out. And I know it looks like I've made a complete mess, because if you look at the side of the aft cabin, I've pulled down the headlining off the ceiling. Now that's foam which is on the back of the vinyl lining. That's just foam, and the foam's sticking to the wall, so I'll scrape all that off. This vinyl, you see, the foam's all come off because it's all stuck on the back of there. But you can buy new vinyl, or you can like replace it with something that you prefer. It doesn't really matter. So I'm not really, don't have an issue with that at all. It was all hanging off because of the damp anyway, so that's a non-issue. So this is the other matching panel. I hate slotty screws. Does anybody else hate slotty screws? I mean, who invented them? Who thought this was a good idea? Even though they slip out constantly and they strip so easily. And like that one is. And Phillips are just, or Posi Drive, they're just so much easier. That one's already stripped. That's a bit of a pain. Because I don't want to have to. Yep, looks like I'm using pliers to get this one out, maybe. Maybe not. Let's treat it gently. No, gently, it just slides out of the slot. See, this is why I hate slotty screwdrivers and slotty screws. Just, let's try it like that. I'm not keeping the camera still because I'm trying to make sure you've got a picture. I'm trying to make sure I don't let the screwdriver slip. I'm not used to this camera holding business. I don't know why I want a YouTube channel, because I'm really not very good at it. Oh dear me. Can you see what somebody's done there? Put a flaming rivet in. No, they haven't. No, they haven't. No, they haven't. I know what that is. That is a little spring thing that fits on the back of the button, and it's broken off from the button. That's what that is. Thank God, because I thought for a moment it was a rivet, and then I was going to have to get the drill and drill it out. And this really want to play. Come on, come to daddy. You know you want to. What's that law? If it can go wrong, now you bugger, it will. And especially for me, you don't know me. Oh, hey, there you go. Well, that was quite handy. So let's have a look in there. What we should find, apart from a lot of black dust, is... What the hell is that? I know what that is. That's the exhaust for the engine. So what I should find, I can't hold the light and the camera at the same time, but what I should find in the bottom of there, yes, is a ton of washers and nuts and more washers. Now the washers, it's not overkill putting all these in, because remember those Davits were an enormous amount of weight. I carried one over to the shed earlier, and I would hazard a rough guess that each one weighs about 20 kilos. And then of course you've got the weight of a dinghy and an outboard on top of that, so they really have to have lots and lots of washers to be able to bear the weight without ripping the back of the boat off. Right, now what you can't see, but you might be able to hear, there you go, is the fact that it is sodden down there. It's absolutely sodden. It's actually about, I'm going to guess at about 3/4 of an inch deep, the water in there. I can't really get in to show you because I can't really hold the camera and the torch at the same time, so I actually don't know if you have a view or not there, but minging, absolutely minging, and I wish now I'd put some gloves on. Yes, I thought that was another washer I could see in the camera. Right, so anyway, the plus side is I found my leak, so I just need to clean that out and then seal those holes up the top, because there's 2 more washers. Come on, my beauties. Because there you can see, look, just goes straight through. So that's where the leak's been. That's where the leak's been coming. I found my leak straight away. I can't believe it. I'm absolutely over the moon. Finding leaks is one of the most laborious, because remember, I've lived for 15 years in a motorhome, and leaks move. The water can come in at one place, and then it can trickle along a channel, and it can trickle down a little drain, and it can trickle along a piece of fabric and wick, and it can come out God only knows where, and tracing a leak is the devil's work. It's the worst thing. So I'm actually very, very, very chuffed indeed that I've found that. That's been a great joy. I'm going to have a cup of coffee to celebrate. Well, this is the port davit, and I'm having a bit of a struggle. I got one bolt out straight away, as you can see there. What can I point with that one? There, you can see the hole. And there's another 5 to go. So what I've done is I've put this adjustable spanner on, and I've put it really, really tight as I can get it, although you can't get these things really tight because the wheels are such a coarse thread. And then I've put a bit of masking tape, duct tape, to hold it in position, because climbing in and out of here is not easy at the moment because the steps are missing for some reason. So I've climbed in and out about 5 times, and it gets really frustrating because I go up top and I start to turn that bolt up the top and the spanner just drops. So in fact, if I just bear with me, so I decided to put some duct tape, as you can see, to hold the handle end in place so that can't drop. But what I think I might do as well, why don't I just put a little piece over there to encourage that not to drop either. And duct tape is cheap, so at least I'm not wasting time, because I've wasted about a half an hour so far and I'm really frustrated. So let's try that. Well, I was right about this. Okay, so the 6 holes where the leg of the davit were bolted through, there they are, through deck holes. No proper sealing whatsoever, none whatsoever. It's absolutely appalling job, and I think that's been on for a very, very long time. As you can see, to get the leg in, simply cut through the push pit. Now, I don't know whether the davits affected it or not, but just a little push, I don't know if you can see on the camera, a little push on the push pit stanchion Can you see that rocking? So that's going to have to be taken off, the entire lot drilled and faired out, repacked with glass fibre, rebuilt properly, and the stanchion put back in. So that's quite a lot of work. But here we've got a similar kind of thing. So on this hole, for whatever reason, there was some kind of hole before, and what they've done is just packed it with some kind of wood. And I think it's a hardwood they've packed it with. You see there's a bit of that white thing in the middle. Yeah, that's some kind of silicon sealant. So they've filled that in the middle of the wood. But this is a wooden bung, so all this has got to be dug out before I can start to re-glass it all. I mean, it's an absolute utter, you see here again, see that? It's an utter mess. I'm going to be on with quite a while with this, methinks. Right, this is it. It's cleaned off a little bit. It's not perfect yet, but it's cleaned off a little bit. But, right. These holes are fairly straightforward, these smaller ones. This big one, if you notice, it's surrounded by 1, 2, 3, 4 old holes which are now filled in. So, and of course that was filled with that bung which has been glassed in from the back, and I've dug all that out now. I'm trying to let it dry off a little bit. The plywood's soaked inside, of course. I'm going to have to replace quite a lot. But anyway, makes me wonder, was something else fitted on the back of this boat when it was first made? There's obviously a pole there that's come through the deck, and there's 4 bolt holes to hold it there. Now, as far as I'm aware, there's a discus over there which is pretty much the same hull and roughly the same age. Now, he's got posts on now to carry his little arch for his aerials and what have you, but those posts aren't original. But there's no marks on his board that correspond to the ones on mine. That would explain why those holes might have been there. Did it come originally with Davits and he swapped them out? I honestly don't know. Anyway, so this is my little fix, because I want them to dry out and I want the inside cleaned up absolutely thoroughly and dried out as well before I glass from the inside and then repair properly the outside. So what I've made is, these are the stainless steel plates that the davits were bolted to. These are what were on the deck. So what I've done, I love duct tape. I've got a bin liner, I've duct taped it to the back. I've got some old silicon sealant, which is certainly not marine, it's not meant to be, it's just some old bathroom silicon sealant, that's all. But I'm going to use some to fill each of these holes, and then once they have gone off a little bit, I'm going to put a bead around the whole of this piece of steel and stick that on top where it used to be. Now, what's the purpose? Well, because I want it protected from the weather, obviously, because rain will just pour through those holes and even just the damp will come through, and I want them to dry out, but I can't just leave the holes open to the weather because they're not going to dry out. It's not like high summer where we don't get rain for weeks on end. I wish. So it's going to have to be a heater in the aft cabin until that area is thoroughly dried out, and until I'm going to have to grind the inside to get rid of all the old fiberglass, because they're made pretty much I don't know if I'll be able to get down there to show you. Bear with me, I'll show you. They've made quite a mess. I'm sure at the time they probably thought they were doing a fairly good job. But, right, so this is the void. You can see the hole at the top. This is the void where it all occurred. And you can see at the bottom, this leak's been going on for so long. You see this plywood here. What happens when I press my finger in it? It just sinks straight in. That plywood. It's absolutely rotten. And the wood down the back of here, which you can't see properly, but it supports the bed frame, and that's the same. That's absolutely rotten. So all that's got to be redone. Because, as you can see here, I've had to take the lining off. There's the lining hanging down and all the foam's left on the fiberglass. So what I've got to do now is I've got to get all that foam, and all of this is coming off. The entire aft cabin now, all of it is going to come off. So once I get it all off, I've got to get all that foam off the fiberglass and clean that thoroughly, because I'm going to stick closed cell foam tiles all over that to insulate it better. And then all of this vinyl headlining, which I can mostly clean up and keep because it's not bad quality still, it's actually okay. Just the foam on the back's destroyed obviously. So I've got to try and clean this vinyl off somehow, and then I can stick this vinyl back on top of the foam tiles that I stick on the fiberglass. But prior to that, of course, I've got to fix all the fiberglass. So, right, there's the hole. That is what all the water's been leaking onto as well, so I'm going to have to check this thoroughly, take these clips off and take that clip off and put a new one on, because this is the exhaust for the engine. So I want to make sure that's actually still in good condition, given all the leak that's been on top of it for all this time. Now you can see this is the original plywood, so all of this glass here that's been put on top after they've fitted that davit. So as you can see there, all this has got to come off. How the hell? I mean it's kind of, you can see there, kind of like skin that hasn't been put down properly. So it's just breaking away from the wood. So those bits are going to be okay. I'll just prise them off. But the rest, somehow, if I can get this panel off, that might make it easier. In fact, I probably will take that off and get rid of it and make a new piece of plywood for that. And then I can get in and grind all of that and get that all rubbed down properly, so I can start to do a real proper repair on it, instead of the bollocks that's been done so far. So, an awful lot of work. The other side, of course, is just as bad, and it hasn't been affected just as badly by the leak, but it has been affected by the poor building. Now you can't see, there's no way you can see here, but it's sodden down there. This is underneath the cushion, and the wood underneath this, oh, you can see that. You see the wetness? You can, yeah. That's shiny, that's wetness. And the wood underneath is rotten. So that's not great. So all that's got to be fixed. Look at that. Absolutely sodden down there. So this is one hell of a bleeding job, basically. I think that's the technical term. One hell of a bleeding job. it's one hell of a bleeding job getting in and out as well. I need to put a step there. But anyway, so that's the aft cabin. It's the back of the boat, that's the aft cabin. This is going to be the guest cabin. So anybody who comes for a sail with me, this cabin is going to be better than mine eventually, because it's going to have to be all redone completely and thoroughly, and steam clean and what have you. But this is going to be a fabulous cabin when I've finished. So yeah, that's it. So there's a few. I'm working full time as well, and as anybody who knows me, I work part time as well as my full time job. There's still a lot of mess down there. There's still a lot of mess here. There's still a lot of mess over there. There's still a lot of. This is the random mess cam. This is the mess cam. Yeah, right, okay. Keep your workstation tidy. It's the first thing I learned. Keep your workstation tidy. Right, okay. Anyway, yeah. So I'm lacking the time. So this is going to take a very long time. It's actually probably going to take. Hang on, so 1 second. How do you do this? How do you? I don't know how you do it. It's probably going to take a very long time, sadly, to finish the whole job. But c'est la vie. There's nothing I can do about it. It needs to be done. I mean, once the leak's stopped, I'll feel a bit safer once I've repaired those holes. But of course then the aft cabin needs doing, which is not a desperate hurry. It's not like a massive priority. The leak is the priority, but the cabin still has to be done, which is going to take a long time in the future. So there you go. That's my autumn accounted for.